question. How does the curriculum director maintain an integrated curriculum, both horizontally and vertically aligned, that engages students in rigorous, relevant academic challenges?
Well, for us in the state of Alabama, I guess in Cherokee County, that would be Jennifer Mackey, who is our curriculum director and instructor. And I know that she communicates with the State Department. And so recently in Alabama, everyone's gone through letters training, so we've really gotten into the science of reading. We had 2 curriculums that the State Department approved that we could choose from, so those were both evaluated through Jennifer and a team of teachers and our instructional coaches to make sure that that curriculum would fit what we have learned and also, cover the standards for the state.
Okay. How does the director and administrator lead and motivate teachers to adhere to the prescribed state standards? That's the first part of this question.
I'm not sure about motivating other than just encouraging, but it is what it is. Now, I will tell you that starting with Open Court this year as a whole new curriculum was challenging. The good news is we knew we were getting Open Court way back in the spring, and we began getting the materials in this spring before school got out. So our teachers did have it before we left. And so we had meetings on the last day of school, which was a teacher work day and non-student day. And we started kind of diving into that curriculum a little bit and going ahead and breaking it apart, creating some pacing guides. And prior to that, in the spring, we actually had some teachers from Center Elementary who went to observe some other schools that were already implementing Open Court. We sent some to Calhoun County and to DeKalb County to kind of go and watch the curriculum in action. And of course, these schools were using it. This was the first year they were using it as well. But we went in the second semester to try to, just glean a little bit off of them and get familiar with it. So, and then this summer, our teachers, of course, had their online materials to go ahead and take home.
Now, was Open Court the only choice that you had?
No, there was another one, and gosh, I'm trying to remember. There were 2 approved on the state list for K through 3. And I can't remember the name of the other one, but Open Court is what we chose as a system.
Okay.
I can't recall.
The second part of this question is, what are the teachers' perceptions of both curriculum director and administrators working towards common goals? We have common plan times here, and the reason for that is we do want to plan together, so we want to stay kind of on the same page as a grade level. And we have pacing guides that were developed by our instructional coaches, and they also had some grade level help from the teachers in that as well. So we do try to stay on the same page, but I also want our teachers to kind of keep their autonomy in their classroom. I don't want to tell them who to be or how to do it. There's got to be some individuality in their personality and that. So we don't dictate every minute thing that they do, but we do try to keep an overall same pace. But every class is going to be different. This classroom kids may take this standard and run with it and do well, while the neighbors next door may need a little bit more time on a particular standard, and some of that the teachers just got to kind of navigate through. So those pacing guides are just a general idea. So they all get the same pacing guides per grade, but they kind of do their own thing?
Yes, they do have some autonomy. Now, a lot of them plan together. They do plan together, but sometimes, different personalities, and some people like a little bit more music, some people like a little bit more art, and I think that's fine. I don't want to make somebody be who they're not. I also want them to play to their strengths when they're teaching.
Okay. Are teachers involved in any curriculum decisions or feedback?
Yes, we talk about that. We have grade level meetings once a month, and we talk about curriculum a lot. And so we work through that. In order to choose the Open Court, we had representatives from Center Elementary who joined with teachers from around the county who get together, and they reviewed all the different curriculum options that we had. So yeah, they have a say-so in what we adopt. And then also we had a team that were teachers that were part of the developing the pacing guides as well. And this is the first year for Open Court, so we're still making some adjustments as we go too, which is not unexpected with a new curriculum.
Okay. How do you as the administrator assess instructional programs, activities, and materials?
Well, we use the data, in here, we're still under Renaissance, so we use a lot of the STAR programs to do our progress monitoring, to do our fall, winter, and spring screening, so that's kind of how we assess, how it's working. And Open Court comes with common assessments as well in our reading series. Then we have Envision Math, which also has common assessments, so, and those assessments are designed kind of in line with the ACAP. So the assessments that you have through Open Court and Envision are supposed to mirror that, what the children will be asked on the ACAP in the spring. So those are the ways that we kind of see if it's working or not.
Can you look at all that data?
We do. So we have RTI meetings once a month, and then we have 3 data meetings, just data meetings where we look at the data. So we have one in the fall after we have our initial screening, then we have a winter screening. We look at the data to see, how the students are moving, and then we have a spring check as well. So even beyond the ACAP, we have our own data here that's through the STAR screeners. So yes.
Awesome. How does the director use diagnostic tools to assess, identify, and support instructional improvement?
Well, I think that goes back to the STAR screeners. We do those early in the school year. And in Cherokee County, we do that within the first 2 weeks of school. Now, I wish we would wait a couple of weeks, because sometimes that fall screener can be really, really low because you have kids coming off a summer break. So we're just getting back into school. So I don't know that we always get a true reading on that fall screener. I wish we would wait just a couple more weeks, and kind of get our kids back in gear and get a truer look at where they are. And then I think that would give you a more accurate look at where they are, and then you can compare their winter data and then their spring data. So ideally, wherever they are on that fall screener, you want to have progress in the winter and then progress in the spring. But sometimes I think our fall data, because of when we do it, maybe a little bit artificially low.
Does the director look at the data from every school?
Yes, and primarily, like here at the school level, we focus a little bit more on the STAR data because it's kind of like a living document. This is something that we can see with our progress monitoring on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a semester basis. Where the ACAP, you get in the spring, you get the results back, in early May, the school year's over, so you can't really do a lot with those results for that particular group of kids. You can go back and do some self-reflecting and say, oh, my kids were, we were weak in this particular skill or that particular skill, so you can reflect as a teacher. But to me, those ongoing screeners give teachers a chance to use like data in real time to adjust instruction for whatever the student's need would be.
Okay. I didn't know all that. Okay. How has the infusion of technology into classrooms impacted the curriculum in the school or the district?
Well, everything has an online component now. All the curriculum that we use has an online component. So, textbooks are almost something that are non-existent anymore. So everybody in our school system is one-to-one, and we've been to one-to-one with the device for as long as I can remember, maybe the past decade or so. The students, the good news about that is the students are able to, the good news about that is the students are able to, take those things home with them. Like if, for example, during the pandemic, we were able to send devices home, and as we navigated through that time, kids could take stuff home and still communicate with their teachers in real time, on a daily basis. If you're an old school person, I'm a fan of holding books and reading books, and we still have a library that has that, but the kids can also go into the library and scan a QR code with their Chromebook and have a library book immediately,
That's neat.
you know?
I didn't know that either.
Yep.
All right, let me know your opinion on the greatest difficulties of your position and the factors that interfere with achieving the goals, your goals and objectives.
That's a loaded question. So I'm gonna be honest with you about the difficulties that I think we face, and this is true. I don't think it's true just at Center Elementary School, but maybe public education as a whole, and it's more of a mental health thing than it is a curriculum and instruction thing. You know, so many of our students come to school and they're just not ready to learn, you know, and it used to, we would talk about, you know, kids not being well rested or not being well fed. And now I look back and think, well, those are easy problems to solve. But the problems that we face here go a lot deeper than that. And, you know, some of it that we have is not just, you know, genetic things, but we have environmental problems that create havoc for our kids, and they miss a lot of early years where they learn to be stable, to have emotional stability, and come in school ready to learn. You know, when I think I think about my own two boys, you know, when they come to school, the only things they had to worry about were learning reading and math. They weren't worried about stability at home. They weren't worried about being hungry, where they were gonna stay, none of that. They were in a safe environment and they came to school ready to learn. That is not the case for most of our students anymore.
Sad.
It is. So that is the challenge.
So what are your goals?
Besides opening an orphanage here, you know, our goals, you know, and it's really shifted, and I don't wanna be judged on this, but, you know, because this is what I feel. I feel like at this level, at the elementary level right now, for a lot of our kids, we spend many years teaching them to be part of school, part of society, how to interact appropriately with their peers, you know, how to be part of a group of people, you know, and that's hard for them. It's hard for them to know how to interact appropriately with their peers and with their adult teachers, you know, and I know that, you know, I had a teacher a few years ago at a high school level, and he was always upset that the kid, you know, were disrespectful. But you know, if you look back at some of these kids in their life, the adults have let them down to an extent where, why would they respect an adult just because you're an adult? And I think we're in a position now where we have to really earn that trust and earn that respect from kids, and that's a foreign concept, even for me to say it out loud, but I get it, you know, where we have to earn their trust and their respect. And that's hard, and we spend a lot of time doing that while teaching a little bit of reading and math in between.
I have experienced that myself. All right, well, I really appreciate you taking the time to interview with me.
All right, well, you're welcome.
All right.